Next up on the stage, it's not about me, we have got Fran. She's a 2-time managing director and founder of award-winning agency. And what she has got to tell you today, you need to be listening. Get your notepads out. Fran, everybody.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I needed this as well, so I've not got enough hands with a clicker. So, this is a story about our journey for setting up the agency Tribera, which is a creative digital agency, and it's here in Birmingham, so we're based here. And I wanted to talk to you about this, but basically, it is my personal story today, and then some other bits and tips for you all. But I didn't do this journey alone, and I did it with 2 other founders who are also in the audience today. Give them a wave, Michelle Ivins and Andre Pickard. And therefore, the unofficial title of my talk today is Finding Your Tribe, because I definitely found mine, and I hope that you find yours too. Okay, let's do it. Right, so I'm going to start a little bit about me, a little bit about my story, and then the 10 lessons we have learnt setting up a business in the last 4 years. So yes, that had 2 years of pandemic nonsense in the middle of it. So I'm not going to start at the beginning, I'll start at uni. So as you can see from my picture, I really spent a lot of time in the library, was very, very studious. And yeah, I think that bottom photo is I'm about to drink a candle, not realising it isn't a drink. So yeah, I had a good time. I had a really good time. I wasn't going to go to uni. I didn't have that academic urge in me. And I was working full-time at a pub and helping run that pub. And you know what hit me? Just utter and sheer boredom. And this can't be it. Graveyard shift between 2 and 5, watching Crosswits. Some of you will be too young to even know what that is. It's a really rubbish game show. And decided that's it, I'm going to go to uni. So I made a decision at that point that I've been grateful for the rest of my life, which was uni changed my life. I know it doesn't work for everybody and it's a big expense, but for me, everything clicked at uni. I did half a biology degree and half a marketing degree and merged them modular. So yeah, I was the only one that got up the stage for my category of degree with the whole room going, what? What even is that? So yeah, it's exactly half of each degree. And what it's done is basically cemented a lifelong obsession that I have with human behaviour. So I'm absolutely fascinated with everything to do with that, and then merge that with how people interact with brands. Well, chef's kiss. That's just me in my absolute element. So that's set a big foundation of where I am today, and also an ability to be able to drink anyone under the table. So yeah, I'm proud of me. So then I did leave with a degree. I did get one, and then we've got career in marketing. So I had a corporate career, as you can tell by the bun. I think I'm just missing the pearls. Actually, I think I am wearing pearls on that. Yeah, I've got pearls in. So just need a TM Lewin shirt and I'm away. So I worked in a variety of roles. I think if anyone follows Squiggly Career, look it up. It's a fascinating book by the people at Amazing If. They are big advocates of try everything. Your career doesn't have to do that. It can squiggle around. So I definitely did that. I did everything that I was interested in, from campaign to product to proposition to customer insight, customer journey. I literally was just this big sponge. And I left my corporate career quite high up. I ran a department for a major FS company, and within that time, I was happy, I think, but it wasn't setting me on fire. I wasn't, jumping out of bed every morning with this renewed faith of how I just can't believe how awesome my life is. And then I went through a really, really heartbreaking fertility journey that luckily for me ended in joy. And, I know, she's 8 now and not cute at all and quite sassy. So this is my daughter. I've got 2 now. She's 8, the other one's 5. Everything changed when she arrived. Everything for me. Now, on this, I don't mean that I wanted to suddenly be barefoot, making my own baby food. That never happened. But I definitely felt this shift in me that I knew I still wanted a career. I knew I still wanted to go to work. But it had to be something awesome, because I was now a role model and I wanted to show my daughter and then my daughters that actually you can be anything you want to be. So I then made it my absolute business to go and find the job that I wanted. Now, in my corporate career, I'd always worked with big top London agencies and bloody loved it. I absolutely was enthralled by the people there, the creativity, and also just the jobs that they got. That's how interesting, such interesting work. So I made it my business to go and join an agency, and I did. And I went in as an insights director. So that's interesting because that squiggly career helped me be qualified for something when I wanted to make a career change. So I joined and I had 3 amazing years at this agency. I absolutely thrived. Everything I knew about scaling businesses, about winning deals, about making professional processes in place, all of that just literally fell into place. I also had the real advantage that I'd been client side for a long time. So I was able to use that ability to say, actually, the client wants the agency to be like this. They want to have that power, and they want to know, they want you to understand them. So I was able to bring a lot of that to the party. However, I was then made MD. Now, I hate this picture, not just because I've got a squinty eye, but also because within 5 months of this picture being taken, I had resigned from my position of MD that I've waited all my life to do, and I left with no job to go to. The official line was that I wasn't given the freedom to be able to be MD of the agency at the time. The unofficial line was that I was being subjected to behaviours that would tick every box of a tribunal. It wasn't my first rodeo of this experience, so I was like, right, I'm standing up for myself, I'm not having this, I'm going to call it. And the behaviours just got worse and worse and worse, till the point was I had to leave. So I left that role. I just left with nothing else to go to, and that was when lesson 1 hit me right in the face. Not literally, but... And lesson 1 was integrity wins. So what had happened was pretty a secret, I guess. People didn't know. I was planning my tribunal, don't worry. I'm not going to let people get away with that. However, I didn't expect what to happen next, if that makes sense. It didn't. But basically, I was subjected to a smear campaign on my abilities, on my reputation, on my conduct, and all of it was completely untrue. And anybody that had worked with me knew it was untrue, because integrity wins, and I tell the truth and I work with integrity. And so, to my absolute shock, 2 of the business partners that I mentioned earlier stood in solidarity. They were both very influential directors at the time in that agency, and they walked because what was happening wasn't right. I did not expect them to do that, nor did I ask them to do that, so I will be forever grateful to you both. Thank you. Woo! So at that point, we were feeling really moral and come on, power to the people. We didn't have jobs, so scary moment. We then carried on, just basically going through the motions of going through interviews and planning the next step of our life. Then a very weird thing happened. I received a phone call from a local investor who said, I've just heard about a mass resignation, and if you would like to set up your own agency, I will fund you to do so. So, a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I can't tell you I think we just all stared at each other like for a long time. If any of you have ever worked with investors, they're not patient people. And even though it was him that made the phone call to us, he said, I want your business plan within 24 hours. So that's what we did. Next photo is us around my kitchen table, celebrating that business plan being written at breakneck speed and approved, and we were in business. So we literally had the opposite problem of most startups, was that we had the money, we didn't have a plan. So then we had to quickly get a plan, and that was us celebrating that being approved. That investor later told me he never even looked at the plan that we sent. So, challenge accepted. So then that leads me on to lesson 2, which is allow time for setup. We did not anticipate it would take as long as it did. We formed in October, and we didn't actually launch our name and our website till February. So that's a long time to not have any form of income. So at the side, we were hustling, we were picking up as much work as we could get, and we weren't creating our brand, and we weren't putting our website together, so nobody actually knew what we were doing. And I think at one point, if the guys can remember this, we pitched as the agency with no name because we couldn't agree on it. So then we came across Tribera, and Tribera came as a portmanteau, which I now know what that means, which is the merging of two words. And that's tribes, because tribes are so interesting to us. We are quite obsessed with how customers can assemble and create a community behind a brand. And it's a fascinating thing, and it's a thing that's happened with the advent of social media, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, especially when we've got Gen Z coming in and being the most ethical consumer we've ever seen. These people are standing behind brands, and they are literally becoming tribal. Then we've got era. We wanted to be a new era of agency. We wanted to ensure that we did things differently, that we approached work differently, and that we treated our staff differently. So we launched. So you think, that's great, we're here. Lesson 3, it won't go how you think it will, but keep going. Because we had a business plan that was massively predicated on winning a big client. And this client was perfect for us. All three of us hit the spot in terms of experience and expertise. The pitch was there. We had great signs. We won the pitch. And then a director at the last minute put the kibosh on it and said, we're not using a new agency. It's too risky. And then we always heard if you were just 1 year older, if you were just 2 years older, it would be less of a risk. So this picture is, that's us looking really nervous. I don't know why Michelle took the picture, but that's us not having a good time. There's a big bucket of sweets that I think we've ploughed through, and we're just basically having our shit, what's plan B moment. But it was okay. And actually, looking back now, if we'd have won that client, we wouldn't be where we are now. It would have completely changed how we ran the agency and the work that we did. So it was a blessing in disguise. So when you hit that first, this isn't going how I thought it was, keep going. Lesson 4, get your first bite and go for it. We had our first nibble with a brand called Grenade, and they just wanted us to help them with a video that they were going to do. And we took that opportunity and we bloody ran for it. So we launched campaigns with them. We even put Andre, a business partner, actually worked at the agency and ran all their digital function. So we literally went for it. That's even us driving a tank through London, which I'm still not sure is legal or not, but it was done. And it created the impact on social media that we wanted it to. So massive thanks to Grenade for taking a punt. To anyone else that wants to set up their own agency, go for the ambitious brands. Go for the ones that want to do things differently, because they're way more likely to take a risk on you. So they took a risk on us and it paid off. So the next lesson is develop your networks. So we haven't yet. So we are 4 years old and we haven't yet done any form of traditional new business. We have based ours completely on word of mouth recommendation and who we know. So I think it's really important that events like this, that you meet as many people as possible and you make sure that you create those connections and that people know who you are and know what you do is good. So it's so important. This is an event that we ran, a round table event about women leadership. And as you can see, the lovely Lucy that runs Digital Women is attended. But also that was done at really last minute. The week before we were just saying who can be about, and just all these women leaders just turned up because you'd built those relationships and built that network. So never underestimate that. Then lesson 6, find your niche. So our niche was around we were really good at digital and we were really good at creative. Only when we merged the two things did our trajectory do that. So many agencies were really good at creative, but then it wouldn't be able to be applied to digital channels, or other agencies were really good at doing digital channels and hadn't started with the creative idea. So us blending those two things, and we have a thing at Tribera called Creative Triage, which ensures that every brief that comes in gets that creativity, because that's how we compete. So make sure you find your niche, whatever that is. And then this is a montage of people finding their niche. It's not. I just didn't know what to put for, for what, how do you find your niche in a picture? So this is from a photo shoot in 2019. Then, lesson 7. This is a big one. Back yourself. So we learned a really expensive lesson in not backing ourselves, and I will explain why. So do you remember me telling you about that investor? And he put that money into a bank account for us. We never touched it. We didn't touch a penny of it. We didn't need to. We were able to generate income from day one. And now this is us. This is painful, this photo. This is us buying our company back. And it was expensive, and we had to make that decision in a weekend because he owned majority share, and best thing we ever did. This was in year 2, just before pandemic. It was extremely risky decision, but we backed ourselves, and I think it's really important to remember that because we should have done it before as well, but this time we were definitely doing it. And in year 3, we made more money than we had in years 1 and 2 combined, and we lost all of the investors' businesses as well. So this was a really important point to us. Make sure you back yourself. Then continually adapt and change. It's really important. So I forever was always obsessed with what's our proposition, and what's our offering. But actually, it's continually changed what we do because this marketplace doesn't sit still. So when we brought in creativity, as I said, that then exploded our digital channels for us, and we have a big creative function. We have a studio. We have content creators that work in-house. We have videographers, cinematographers. It's really important that we did that we moved with the times. We've got people at the moment all over the AI tools. We're making sure that our agency isn't ignoring them, that we are incorporating them in what we do. They are not instead of creativity, but they can aid a lot of processes, and it's really important that we're on that journey too. So make sure you continue to adapt and change, and don't see that as something that's a problem. Embrace that. And there's a chameleon to illustrate that point. Right, and that leads me on to my final point, which is evident by the use of the chameleon, which is continue to find your tribe. It's really, really important to do this. And this is the latest picture of us, that rabble that we have. This isn't all of us. We're at 25 with 2 more on the way. Our growth trajectory is really steep, especially for this year. So it's really important that we don't lose our culture, that we set out to do the amazing thing we do. We look for talent. We look for people that are really, really ambitious and talented, but it's really important they're a fit as well culturally, because we've created something special, something where there's an environment that has support and it's really friendly and it's just a great place to learn and develop. So we don't ever want to lose that. But when I'm saying about finding your tribe, this is also our clients. Our clients are massive advocates of ours, and the reason why we've grown our business because they started telling other marketing directors the service they were getting and the amazing delivery and results. So it's really important. And finding your tribe could be today as well, because you'll meet people that you'll just vibe with and it will work. And then the last point, take more photos. If this presentation hasn't told you anything, is that there wasn't enough photos. There was some really shocking ones, and especially on a massive screen as well, when you suddenly see a 3-foot face. So your journey might start today. It might have started already. Just make sure you take loads and loads of photos, because our journey has been one hell of a ride, and we're really pleased to have some documentation of it. So thank you.